Developing this evening, Channel 2 Action News found several police reports about calls to a murder suspect's home dating back years before he was accused of killing two teenagers. Jeffrey Hazelwood was arrested last week and charged for the murders of the 17-year-olds. Channel 2's investigative reporter Mark Winnie is live at the Roswell Police Department with what he uncovered with an open records request. Mark?
And we went by the address listed in some of these reports, and I spoke to a man who indicated he was Jeffrey Hazelwood's grandfather, Walter Hazelwood, who told me, quote, "Our hearts are broken for the other families. Our hearts are just ripped out." He said the community's been very nice to the Hazelwoods, and his church community has been a big support. Here's what we found. Jeffrey Hazelwood is now named in an arrest report. Charges numbers 1 and 2, murder. But we dug into police reports going back years, several not showing his name, but we are told the juvenile referred to in some is Jeffrey Hazelwood, now charged with the murders of Natalie Henderson and Carter Davis.
You can see the level of the severity of the commentary in the police reports is getting worse and worse and worse.
Maybe the most troubling report of the several we received is from April 30th, 2013. Quote, "I made contact with Marcia Hazelwood, her husband, and her 16-year-old grandson." Quote, "Hazelwood said that the juvenile took his knives and sword from the gun safe." And quote, "Hazelwood informed me that approximately 6 to 8 weeks ago, the juvenile informed her that he was going to blow and people were going to get hurt."
But at the time, the officers can't really involuntarily commit somebody to the hospital because there's no necessarily imminent threat.
February 2010, dispatch, quote, reference to a juvenile in the yard with a handgun. Quote, "He presented us with what was found out to be a toy gun." March 2011, it says the complainant was identified as Walter Hazelwood, grandfather and legal guardian for a missing person. Quote, "Juvenile did leave a note stating that he was going to see if he could survive for a couple days in the woods." Quote, "The juvenile is suspected of taking a Sig Sauer 9mm handgun." It indicates eventually the teenager called the grandfather. Quote, "The teenager said he was with his mother." December 2011, dispatch, quote, in reference to a juvenile who was swinging a sword in the front yard of the residence. It says the juvenile stated, quote, "He was practicing for karate." It indicates the complainant lived nearby and said he believes the juvenile is dangerous and has issues. We got 8 reports, and kudos to Roswell Police for a thorough response to our request. Others included a missing rifle report last year and a suspicious person type report just this April. Lawrence Zimmerman, Jeffrey Hazelwood's attorney, told me that Hazelwood plans to enter a not guilty plea, but he said that it's too early for him to comment on Hazelwood's background or specific details of the case. Reporting live outside Roswell Police Headquarters, Mark Winnie, Channel 2 Action News.
Last week, Hazelwood acted strangely during his first court appearance. His hands were shaking and he appeared to be talking to himself. Off camera, our reporter and photographer also noticed Hazelwood appearing to pet an imaginary animal. Carter Davis would have started his senior year at River Ridge High in Woodstock on the morning he was killed. He was a student athlete, described as smart and talented. Natalie Henderson would have started her senior year at Roswell High yesterday. She loved to sing and would do so often on her social media.